getting answers. From all across Northern California, this is the CBS 13 News at 10.
Another round of wild weather hangs over Northern California, washing out roads and raising fears of flooding.
And several feet of new snow fell in the Sierra, with much more on the way. Dave Bender is tracking the rain and the snow, and he'll have a look at what's ahead.
And thanks for joining us. I'm Tony Lopez.
And I'm Christina Janes. We'll get to the weather in just a minute here, but first, this. From chants to throwing punches, violence breaks out at a Donald Trump campaign rally in Chicago.
It was quite the scene. The Republican frontrunner says he didn't want to see people get hurt, and that's why he canceled a massive rally in Chicago tonight. But
not before a large group of protesters had gathered inside the venue and lined up outside, clashing with each other and police.
Protesters clashed with officers and with each other outside the University of Illinois after Donald Trump postponed his rally because of safety concerns.
Thank you very much for your attendance, and please go in peace.
The crowd of thousands erupted after the announcement. Fights broke out as people confronted each other, and some got violent. Chants of "We stopped Trump" could be heard from one side of the rally there to protest the frontrunner, and at least one person charged the podium. Then the crowd spilled into the streets of Chicago.
It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime experience to see a presidential candidate, and to walk outside and people are just yelling at you.
Power to the people! Power to the people!
I'm happy they didn't allow this in our city.
But some say postponing the rally was a mistake.
I think it's a bad precedent because it's going to encourage more bad behavior.
Donald Trump called into MSNBC to defend the move.
Chicago is the home of some very, very bad rallies. I don't want to see anything like that happen, so I made a decision.
Trump also blamed the violence on anger in the country and said the anger wasn't aimed at him, but at what's been happening in the United States for years. Protesters have been increasingly disruptive at Trump events.
Get them out of here.
Earlier today, 32 people were arrested at Trump's rally in St. Louis.
I'll tell you, these are not good people, folks, just so you understand.
Ted Cruz was quick to comment on the situation.
This is a sad day. Political discourse should occur in this country without a threat of violence.
Trump, meantime, is also dismissing claims that he's dividing the country and using hateful speech.
Now, a Chicago police spokesperson said tonight there were no meetings between police and representatives of the Trump campaign about security at the rally. Trump has 3 rallies planned for Saturday.
Now we've got our eye on a storm making its way across the area. A live look at Titan HD radar showing showers heading east out of the valley and snow in the high country. We have live team coverage for you tonight. Dave is tracking the conditions from the CBS 13 Weather Center. There's the view from CBS 13 photojournalist James Taylor as he watches those water levels along the Sacramento River. But first, let's start with Sharon Raget, who's live in Placer County near Blue Canyon with the latest conditions. Sharon.
That's right. It's snowing actually right now, but not like it's going to be snowing this weekend. A lot of folks were happy they made the drive up the mountain tonight, but that didn't stop a lot of folks from slipping and sliding on the roads here. And in fact, we saw a pretty bad accident. A terrible multi-car accident off I-80 East and the Yuba Gap exit. 2 cars overturned on the side of the highway after spinning out of control, slowing traffic as help was brought in. Thankfully, for others making the trip up the mountain, conditions cooperated.
There was rain on and off, some beautiful sunshine and rainbows along the way as well, but we were very fortunate in that we didn't hit the heaviest of the deluge.
There was a little bit of rain, but it wasn't as bad as we expected. We knew we would need to pull over and put chains on.
The wet and slushy roads put chain control in full effect, with chains being required just south of Blue Canyon to Donner Summit.
I do this every day in the snow, so I'm used to putting chains on.
One by one, people pulling over to chain up, and those that didn't, well, were slipping and sliding on the mountain like this car here.
A little slippery. It was kind of hard to see through the windshield because the rain was so hard.
But the thirst for fresh powder wasn't stopping this group of East Oakland boxers coming out to train in the higher elevation.
We're going to train like Rocky did. Remember when he had to go to Russia and train in the snow? Just keep it simple. Just try to run in the snow and, you know, get those legs working.
Or these kids.
The snow was great, but it was very low visibility. So, yeah, it was really fun, though, skiing with him. He's my friend, and it was his first time.
All in all, a smart move for drivers trying to beat the heavy rain and snowfall set for this weekend. Now today we saw a couple of inches of snow, but we're talking about 2 to 4 feet that we can see throughout the weekend. So Caltrans is getting the roads ready, and they're telling everyone if you're coming up the mountain, make sure you come prepared and drive slowly.
Yes, there is much more to come in this storm system. Sharon Roget live for us tonight in Placer County. Sharon, thank you.
Let's talk about the rain now. It's moving out of Sacramento for the night. Mobile 13 live along the Sacramento River. Beautiful Tower Bridge right there. The rain has brought water levels so high it's only 15 feet below the Tower Bridge as you take a closer look right there. Discovery Park in Sacramento, by the way, is shut down because of high water levels. This typically happens when we get a lot of rain. The park's boat launches partially flooded and blocked off. Employees are urging people to stay away from those river banks. And check this out. Caltrans worker was caught in a mudslide. It happened this morning in Mendocino County. You can see the pictures of the almost deadly accident. The employee was sitting in a dump truck when the mud just came crashing on top of him. The truck was stopped by a guardrail, thankfully, and not pushed over the edge. The crew member was not hurt, just shaken up. So lots going on. Let's get over to Dave Bender in the Weather Center. Get you ready for your weekend, Dave. How's it going to look?
It's going to be a wet one. We've got a couple of more rounds of wet weather to roll on in here. Here's a live look at your Titan HD, and you can see a lot of moisture moving out of the area. And also notice it's pretty much encompassing the entire state. Everybody got a bit of a drink out of this, even Vegas getting hit with some rain. So as we dive on in, you are going to see that we are watching this exit and pushing off to the east. We do have some showers down into the northern San Joaquin Valley, and you can see the rotation here. This is the counterclockwise rotation. The low actually coming on in and, of course, pushing off to the east. Snow levels have been around 4,500 feet or so. We have seen and had reports in Arnold actually getting some snow accumulations, and that's down at the 4,000-foot level. But all this moisture heading off to the east, and with that heading off to the east, of course, we need to look out to the west. We're going to catch a bit of a break, about a 12-hour break or so before we start to see more rain come in, and that's associated with this area of low pressure right here. And in fact, that is going to be your Saturday weather maker. This will help to keep the snow levels at least in check and down below past level for sure, so that's great. And then we got another one a little farther out behind me here. This one is on the approach, and of course, that guy right there will be your Sunday system. So we got a couple of things to talk about here. We do have a flood watch for pretty much all the areas you see there in green. That goes all the way to Sunday afternoon. That's just for the amount of rain we're going to get, creeks and stream rises, and also low-lying areas that pond up and tend to do that. Just keep that in mind. Also, winter storm warning in effect all the way to Monday. That's going to be above 5,000 feet for the most part. We are going to see possibly up to 2 to 4 feet of snow before we're done. And one more thing with tomorrow's weather maker, late in the morning all the way to late in the afternoon, a wind advisory for the areas you see there in brown. It is going to be we're looking at wind gusts maybe to 45 miles per hour. Not as strong as last weekend, but very comparable, especially with the rain coming in here. And again, in the high country with strong winds, whiteout conditions off and on all weekend long. Christina?
All right, we'll see you in a bit. Thanks, Dave. To make way for all of this rain, officials will be letting more water out of Folsom Lake and into the American River. The Bureau of Reclamation plans to increase releases tomorrow below Nimbus Dam to 20,000 cubic feet per second. 5 of the floodgates at Folsom Lake have been opened, and officials will start the increased releases tomorrow morning. Water is beginning to flood the Yolo and Sutter bypasses for the first time in years. The Colusa and Tisdale weirs already have high river runoff flowing over their tops, and the Fremont weir near Knight's Landing is expected to overflow Saturday morning. The weirs and the bypasses are designed to take pressure off the Sacramento River and divert water away from populated areas. The bypasses look like large lakes between Sacramento and Davis and Woodland once they are filled. We'll stay with CBS 13 for the latest weather conditions, and for all of your weather updates, just visit CBS13.com.
A call for change from UC Davis students tonight to remove University Chancellor Linda Katehi. Students are staging a sit-in at Marac Hall tonight, demanding the embattled university leader resign.
Katehi is under fire for her service as a paid director for 2 for-profit boards while working for the university. Now, the controversy recently led to her resignation from one of those boards. CBS 13's Adrian Moore is live in the newsroom tonight with the students' demands. Adrian?
Christina and Tony, students tell us they aren't going anywhere until Linda Katehi talks to them directly and then resigns. Now, these are some live pictures right now at the overnight occupation of the chancellor's office. They say her outside compensation on 2 boards on top of her taxpayer-funded university pay isn't just a conflict of interest. They say it's unethical and corrupt.
An elevator ride to the 5th floor of Marac Hall unleashes a passionate call for Linda Katehi to step down from her post as chancellor at UC Davis.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Chancellor Katehi's got to go!
The 62-year-old apologized last week for accepting paid corporate board positions with DeVry Education Group and Wiley & Sons. In a statement, she said, quote, "I have resigned from the DeVry board and intend to donate all the stock proceeds I made from serving on the John Wiley & Sons board to a scholarship fund for UC Davis students."
We have a responsibility to stand up when we know bad things are happening, you know? We're here to say we want you to resign now, and we want to have a say in the next chancellor.
Miley Hampton is among the dozen students staging a sit-in at the chancellor's office. With plenty of food, books, and sleeping bags to get them through the night, the group plans to occupy until their message brings change.
She's incapable of doing her job as a public servant, and as a public servant, we are her employer. Our tuition pays her salary. Our taxes also pay for her.
Katehi earns $420,000 a year as university chancellor and would have received $70,000 a year plus stock for the DeVry post if she hadn't resigned, plus 6-figure pay and stock from textbook publisher Wiley & Sons. As more students pack into these tight quarters, they believe their demands will be met with more time and pressure.
It is possible for students to rise up and to get rid of corruptness on their university.
And here is another live look inside Marac Hall this evening. Assembly members Evan Lowe and Kevin McCarty have called on Katehi to step down, while University of California President Janet Napolitano has said publicly she thinks Katehi made a mistake, but thinks it would ultimately hurt the university if she resigns. So still a lot at play here. We'll, of course, keep our eyes on this.
No question. Adrian, thank you. Next and all new at 10 o'clock, it's a Sacramento alley with an appropriate name for this election year. Tonight, we take you down Democracy Alley.
Digging down to the roots of your family tree for free. Who's making that offer and why?
A first-class farewell to a First Lady, the touching tribute to Nancy Reagan. We're back in 60 seconds.